Hey y'all, Austin here with Outer World Media. Welcome back to another book review, guys. This time we are talking about a horror book. This time we are talking about somebody that I absolutely love the books that I've read by them. This is a reread for me of this book, but you know what? I still enjoyed it just as much as my first read through a couple years ago is when I read it. And we are talking about Stephen Graham Jones' Don't Fear the Reaper. This is the second book in the Angel of Indian Lake trilogy, I believe is what it's called. Sorry, guys, I get confused sometimes with this trilogy name. But anyways, yeah, this is the second book in the trilogy. So just so you know, there probably is going to be some. I don't even think it's going to be major spoilers. Some slight things, slight spoilers. I'm gonna try to keep it spoiler free, which is extremely hard to do in a book with and talk about it a lot without trying to give stuff away. But let's get into it. What is Don't Fear the Reaper about? This book is the follow up, like I said, to My Heart is a Chainsaw. This book continues the life of Jade. And let me read the description. And it goes, 4 years after her tumultuous senior year, Jade Daniels is released from prison right before Christmas when her conviction is overturned. But life beyond bars takes a dangerous turn as soon as she enters her hometown of Proof Rock, Idaho. Dark Mill South, seeking revenge for 38 Dakota men hanged in 1862, escapes from his prison transfer due to a blizzard just outside of Proof Rock. Dark Mill, Dark Mill South's reunion tour began on December 12, 2019, a Thursday. 36 hours and 20 bodies later, on Friday the 13th, it will be over. So I had initially planned this to read this last week, and I did. Just with last week being, Friday the 13th falling on last week and whatnot. Like the description says, this is a follow-up to, My Heart is a Chainsaw. Obviously, I said that. But like I said, this book opens up. We get the introduction to who Dark Mill South is and whatnot, and how they and I don't think this is really spoiling anything. Just how crazy of a man he is. He would be up there if he was actual person. I think he would be more well known as a serial killer than like Bundy or the Zodiac Killer or BTK or Ed Gein, however you want to say it. I mean, it talks about how he moves around, based off of different highways and whatnot, and talks about how many people he's murdered and whatnot. And they say 38 is the number. By the end of this book, he's killed way more than that in a grand total scheme of things. But again, this book does continue on with Jade, and we get the same tropes, and by tropes I mean the same thing that we got in My Heart is a Chainsaw. We get the horror movie references. The roles are a little switched in this one, which is a unique twist on it. I really, really enjoyed that. Mr. Jones here has a way of writing his books to keep you entertained at all times. Each chapter is going to end on a cliffhanger and whatnot, which I really enjoyed, made me want to keep reading. There was like 2 chapters that were like an hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours long. I mean, I was just trying to read it and whatnot and finish it. And again, this was my second read through of this book. So if I enjoyed it that much on a read through, imagine how much you'll enjoy it, reading it for the first time. As always, Jade as a character is very, very interesting to me. She's dealing with what had happened a few years ago. I think it was like 4 years ago in Proof Rock, as far as the aftermath of the 4th of July. I think it's Independence Day slaying is what they call it in the book. Her conviction is overturned, but when she gets to town, there's some people that aren't so sure that should have been the case and whatnot. We do see some returning faces in this book. I'm not going to say who, but just know a good portion of the gang that we saw in the first book is going to be here, with some exceptions. But again, this is a very, very good book. Like I said, I've read this book once before as far as that goes, and I thought I knew, because it's a Stephen Graham Jones book. There's got to be a twist somewhere, and that's not a bad thing. And especially with this, trilogy being kind of like a Scream play on, if you will, referencing horror movies and this and that, being meta, I guess is the technical term. I thought I remembered a twist, but there's just so many twists in this book that I couldn't keep it. I don't want to say keep it straight, but I couldn't keep it straight from the first time I read it because I was like, oh, I know it's gonna happen. Then I get to a certain part of the book, I'm like, okay, I don't remember that happening, which drew me in even more because I'm like, obviously I don't remember this book as well as I thought I did. But again, guys, this is a solid follow up to My Heart Is a Chainsaw. As far as ranking this book and whatnot, as far as that goes, I can't rank this a 5 star. The first time I read it, I believe I ranked it a 5 star. It's close. It's 4 at a minimum. It's a 4 star. I would probably say 4.5 star. I like the idea in this book. They're in Prufrock. Before when we read the book, it was summer. This one's in the heart of winter. We have a huge storm, that blizzard that comes in, which I absolutely love that aspect of it. I mean, there's scenes of them walking on the lake and whatnot. So I really, really enjoyed that. And the idea that there is a full-fledged serial killer. There's no, well, is it not? Just the idea that they know, hey, we know there's a full-fledged serial killer out there. The guy's killed over 30 people. Like, we have to band together. And he's a big, big guy. They make him seem like he is a Andre the Giant-sized fellow in this book. As far as, stature or not. But again, guys, Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones, solid follow up to the first book. I would highly recommend. I'm sorry, but I love this trilogy. I haven't even read the third book, and I can already say I love it. I would highly recommend reading both the first book and this one. Again, this is such a great. I don't even know what the term is. The first 2 books were really great. I want to say quadrilogy, but I know that's not it. But again, guys, check this book out. If you have not given Mr. Stephen Graham Jones a chance, I would highly recommend pick up one of his books, give him a try. I don't know, in all honesty, how this guy does not have a movie deal or TV show deal. Like, I don't understand. Like, this could be the new Scream. This trilogy could. So far, and I haven't even read the third one. This really could be the new, or not even Scream. I guess you have to compare it to that. It could be a new take on things. It could reinvent the genre. Take some classic stuff, throw in some new stuff in there. I mean, he blends so many different subgenres of horror in these books. You have supernatural, you have serial killer, you have revenge. I mean, there's just so many different subgenres of horror and just books in general that he wraps in this. And that's the thing. Most people, when they hear, oh, it's a horror story, they're gonna think, oh, it's just blood and guts. And like the first book focuses on a little bit more. This book has heart. I mean, it really does. We get to see how the effects of, the aftermath and Jade going on trial and whatnot, how it affects her and how it affects the town and whatnot. After what happened in the first book, after it ended, the town became kind of a huge stop, if you will, for anybody that was into supernatural / horror movie stuff. Like, it became like a beacon for people to, attracted people, a certain group of people to go there. So again, guys, I can't say it enough, and I probably just keep repeating myself if I talk for another 10 minutes. Pick up this series, give it a try. It is awesome. I promise you will like it. This is easily one of my favorite series I've ever read. Again, give it a shot. Thank you, guys.